Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, my friends. Here we are with our third Mortal Kombat 1 video for the day, and we've already covered the story mode in chapter 1. We've already talked about the invasion mode, and all thanks very much to Warner Brothers Games for bringing me out and accommodating me on my trip to NetherRealm Studios to capture all the footage. Thank you very much again. And in this video, we're just going to talk gameplay. So this build, gameplay-wise, wasn't wildly different than some of the other builds, as the only additions were Kung Lao and the Cyrax assist. And by the way, this is all the Kung Lao frame data, so if you need to know that, there you go. Although, keep in mind, all the frame data very subject to change until launch, so don't expect this to be final. And there was no training mode, and I was told basically, because of people like me, there is no training mode. We had to stay on task and do what we were brought in for, right? But we can still learn quite a bit. So I have some Kung Lao info for you and Cyrax. And also in the course of the invasion mode, I did meet some of the other characters that are not shown as much. And we can deduce a fair bit of their gameplay as well just from these brief encounters. So that said, let's get directly into it. Let's start with what Kung Lao can do. So Kung Lao, to start off here, he has a new move called the Kanugi. Now, in the story mode, when you first play him, he doesn't have any of his hat moves, right? Because he hasn't learned how to have a short hat. So this move, I thought, was just like a one-off gimmick move, basically, right? Like, he's messing around with Raiden, they're having fun, so giving him a big punch noogie, that's just for funsies, right? No, it turns out it's actually part of his core moveset. Like you can see in this quick combo example here, this string, this is 1-2-1, by the way. We go for some juggles, some air combat strings, and when we end up the combo, I can actually end with the Kanugi. So this actually might be one of your go-to combo enders, as weird as it is. So that's shown. Let's talk some of the other stuff here that's in there. So yes, dive kick is very much in the game, as you would expect. And yes, you can enhance the dive kick as well. The enhanced version of dive kick specifically bounces the enemy off the ground, so easy combo ability. And as shown in the combo here, in classic Kung Lao style, you can use the dive kick to hit the ground before the enemy gets there, land before them, and then combo them before you even get there, right? So there's a lot of utility in the old classic Kung Lao dive kick in this game. And, well, since we're already there, let's talk about one of his new moves, which is basically an upwards angled kick. As you can see here, this is the enhanced version, and this is what gives you a lot of your base combo ability if you're looking to spend meter. That's down back 4, and it's called the Soaring Monk, and its main use is for combo ability. Classic Kung Lao spin is in the game, as you would expect, but did you catch that? Because that's actually very, very big. So spin is now a hold move. When you hold the button, you will just keep spinning, and while you're spinning, you are armored, and you're armored for free. You do not have to spend meter to gain this armor. As you can see here, he tanks the hit just fine, and only when you let go of the button does the actual hit connect and hit the enemy. So free armor. Once again, free armor, no meter needed. That's kind of a big deal. Like in a way, you can almost use it as a counter. As soon as you see the armor flash, that's when you let go of the button and hit the enemy. It's really cool. Though to note, there is specifically only one hit of armor, so don't get hit twice. And if you enhance it, you can actually move in place. And once you build up momentum while you're moving, you move very fast, like Sonic the Hedgehog. It's a very interesting rebranding of the usual classic spin. Now, also in Mortal Kombat 1, because we're a game without variations, that means no more handicaps, right? So we have multiple kinds of projectiles for Kung Lao in this game. We have the buzzsaw hat toss and, well, the more classic regular hat toss. One is a high, the buzzsaw is a high, hat toss is a mid. So one you can duck, the other one you can't. And also the base buzzsaw is a bit faster. So if you're looking to spam projectiles, that seems to be a little bit better. Whereas the hat slower, you can't duck it. And also is aimable, like in the classic games, you can hold up or down to control its trajectory. Another new move we have here is the Shaolin Shimmy. So it's back forward 2, and it's basically your combo filler move. So he does a bunch of the Ip Man strikes and knocks you down something fierce. And it's basically really strong attack at the end of any combo. Enhanced version has a different animation. Now, I'm not sure, but I think this is also an armored move if you happen to enhance it. Time will tell, I suppose. Now, other interesting things about Kung Lao, besides just the special moves, forward 2. So this is a quick overhead that bounces. Now, he himself can't follow up. But what I don't have recorded, unfortunately, but I figured out after the fact, was you can definitely use your Kameo to extend the combo after the bounce. So quick overhead in the full combo, just like, say, the MKX days. As long as you got a Kameo that is applicable, you can absolutely do that stuff with Kung Lao. So If you're looking for 50-50s, this is going to be a character that's going to be pretty good at it. Now, let's talk the Cyrax Kameo. He only has 3 options, technically, but they're all pretty good ones. So one is self-destruct. So self-destruct, when you call him, well, he gets the bomb and he blows himself up, right? And that is a pop-up, and you can freely juggle from it, so that is great. Now, one of the things is when you call him in and you hold the button, he will stay in place. And as you can see here, you can freely move while he's doing this, right? So this can create pressure setups. So you could say knock the enemy down, call Cyrax, hold the button, and then do whatever you're going to do, whatever pressure, whatever mix, whatever. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, well, then when you stop your string, you can let go of Cyrax and he'll basically cover you. You could do something punishable even, right? And then when they go for the punish, let go of Cyrax, he'll blow him up instead, and then go and combo him out, right? So this is part of what the griminess of Kameos is going to be. Just this one example by itself, right? You hold it and he just stands there and he threatens and he threatens and he threatens until you let go. It's really good. Now, of course, net, because you'd have to have net with Cyrax, right? And yes, it is still a full capture state and it lasts a good while. The only thing I'll say is the actual startup is a decent amount slow. I found difficulty comboing into it from strings versus say like Frost, which was very easy to freeze people from strings. I'm sure someone will be able to combo from it, at the very least in the juggle sense, like that'll always work, right? But as just a capture state compared to Frost, it was a little bit slower, but of course Cyrax has utility in other ways. Like the Cyrax copters. So this one here, this is lightning fast startup. It is also, I believe the term is ambush. So you don't go in any state or stop at all. You can just keep moving around freely while it's being called. And also modular in that, depending on whether or not you hold the button as you call him, the angle of what he does, like his little spin, will actually be completely different. Also on the Kameo note while we're here, Sareena. So she wasn't a playable one, but you can definitely tell just by the gameplay. So the rune pit, we were wondering what's happening there. It's actually a meter drain for the enemy. So look at my meter here as Kung Lao, right? And when I'm in that pit, my meter drains and drains and drains. So if you can set someone down in like a lockdown way, you could steal like a meter plus from them. Meter is the lifeblood of any fighting game, to say the least, right? So being able to drain the opponent's meter, that might be very, very, very interesting. So now, all that said, let's talk Mileena. So Mileena has not really been showcased in any way. She was not playable, but what I did do was find the node where she was able to be fought, and I'm like, well, you know what? I'm going to let her beat me up for a little bit just to see some of the things she can do. So just so you know, while she's glowing and like the very slow startup on some attacks, this is because it's like a tutorial teaching you about super armor basically, and how to get around it. So just so you know, it's not part of the base moveset. But yeah, let's talk about stuff like this because pretty wacky. So Mileena has Side Toss. That's not going to blow your mind, right? But what blew my mind is she can cancel the hit of Side Toss into teleports and cancel the teleport into a hit grab. And she can go from tossing aside near full screen to biting out your throat with her vicious teeth. And that was something I was not expecting. To note, this is something you're going to have to hit confirm because this is not safe on block. You can still teleport if it's blocked. And, well, the block keeps happening. And I'm sure that's going to be very, very punishable. But still, just on this base level, to be able to convert a projectile into a hit grab, I think that's very cool and interesting. Also, low psi is a thing, hits as a low, so this is MK1, no variation, so you just actually get all your moves. You get a complete moveset out of the gate, which I'm a very, very big fan of. So yeah, low psi, high psi, it's all there. This is her back throw. The camera wonks out a little bit, but it's kind of like her deception back throw, just with more stabs. But yeah, stabby, bitey, this is the Mileena that you would want to be in this game. You can see here one of her strings has a bit of a hit grab ender as well. Just going to town on you. Very reminiscent of piercing variation in MKX. And that was my favorite variation for her, so I'm very welcoming of it. Here's another look at her back throw without the camera freaking out. Just a little bit more stable. Now, unfortunately, even though I let Mileena beat me up a few times in this mode, it's the beginning of invasion mode, so effectively the bot's set to super easy, so they're not going to get too adventurous in the moveset. So that's about it. The one thing I'll note is apparently low psi, maybe high psi, but at the very least definitely low psi, does not have full screen range. The projectile seems to dissipate about 75% of the way through the screen, which I thought was interesting. But then again, you know what? Fair enough, I guess. If we're getting low psi as part of a base moveset without having to worry about any variation nonsense, I'm definitely very okay with it not being exactly full screen. So that's Mileena. We didn't get much of a look at her in anything other than very brief looks in trailers. And basically, at this point here, we're going to talk about some other characters that we haven't seen too much of and just giving you an idea of some of the things they can do. Like, say, Havoc. So, quick string, but I found it notable. It could be like something like 1-2-1, right? And he headbutts you, and when he headbutts you, his whole friggin' head explodes, and then he regrows it on the spot. So, suffice it to say, this is very on brand for Havoc, right? Most games, when you headbutt someone, your head doesn't explode. Well, in Mortal Kombat 1, it does. Now, to talk Garrus, this is something I was very impressed with. So, the time clock into the delayed sand explosion, we've seen it before, but I certainly did not know that it tracked. I thought it would be like MK11, wherever you place it, that's where it stays until it explodes. No, wherever you go, it will follow you. So, this is a move that you can't avoid. It is an inevitability that this will go off, which makes it very, very strong, very claustrophobic, choke you out. Like, this is a very powerful move because you don't get to run away like you used to. And if you remember talking about Garrus in previous videos, this also builds up his time clock stacks, where he basically gets an ultimate move if he gets 3 clocks off. So that's very strong, and not the least of which, that alone is already very strong, right? It doesn't go away on hit. So if you hit him out of it, the explosion is still gonna go off no matter what. Normally, fighting game logic is, I apply some sort of debuff or something that tracks you, whatever, something that's an inevitability. If you hit me, the thing goes away. That was the price I paid for getting hit. Here, nah, man. Garrus still gets hit, and it's still there, and it still goes off. So Garrus basically owns you for the duration while this is on the screen. Yeah, it takes meter, sure, whatever, but for a meter to guaranteed control the enemy, man, sign me up. That sounds pretty alright to me. Garrus already seems strong from what we knew before, but this seems insanely powerful. And speaking of insanely powerful, hey, wait a second. Who's that? Hey, in the left corner, that's our boy Striker. Yeah, I actually managed to see the Striker assist briefly, and it's one of the craziest cameo assists in this game. So what is Striker doing here? He arrests your ass. That's what he does. So the crazy thing about this is a neutral call, right? Striker comes from behind you, from the other end of the stage. Any other cameo for the assist you want to call them, right? If you call them in neutral, they got to worry about fireballs, kicks, punches, all like a million different things that can hit them out of whatever they're going to do. Since Striker comes in from the other end of the screen, he is effectively safe from just about everything. And what he does, to me, effectively looks like a capture state. Like, yes, it's a hard assist call, so Reptile goes into the stance while he's doing it. But while you're breaking out of the cuffs, as it were, I could not move. I was hitting buttons. I could not move till right here, right? So that tells me that is effectively a capture state. And if you're close enough or have a projectile or something, that will lead to a guaranteed hit. And once again, since Striker comes from behind, that means he avoids all the usual garbage. So say you're up against a Sub-Zero hiding behind clone or something, right? Striker doesn't care. He doesn't have to navigate the clone. He doesn't have to worry about a projectile hitting the clone and it getting blocked. He comes from behind and he can put Sub-Zero in jail for spamming Ice Clone. This here to me is like one of the reasons why there was no training mode. Because if they let me in training mode, this is the kind of stuff I'd be labbing nonstop to figure out. I don't have a lot of the details other than what you're seeing on the screen right now. But this to me reeks of absolute potential. I am very excited to see how this will play out in proper competitive matches, because this seems bananas to me. And that's about it for my Mortal Kombat 1 coverage and footage from this trip. Once again, thank you very, very much, Warner Brothers, for both getting me to NRS headquarters to play the game and all the accommodations you set up for me and all that kind of stuff. It was great. Thank you so much. So other little things like, obviously, hey, Reptile can turn invisible. He gets hit and he stays invisible, so I think it's a gimmick for this specific match, because this is a Reptile-specific gimmick match. But, hey, we'll figure it out when we get to launch properly. This trip opened my eyes, even these little gameplay details, how complex Kung Lao is, his options available, the Cyrax assist, and just there's so many more assists to go over, so many cameos to go over. Like we saw about the power of the Motaro cameo just the other day, right? I'm just very excited for how this game's gonna play. Everything seems so interesting to me. And other than that, well, I guess that's about it from me and for this video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Mortal Kombat.
This is the love we make.